Hello and welcome. Welcome back to Shay and Jordan Go Boating. The Moon edition, if you will. The
Yeah,
lunar, the lunar edition of Shay and Jordan Go Boating.
I was
Um,
wondering if you had noticed that.
I had noticed that and I've been thinking about how to say it all day, and then I fucked up how I said it. I was gonna call it the lunar edition, but then I accidentally called it the moon edition. And
I
instead of
think that's
starting
just as
over,
good.
I instead of starting over, we'll continue with my first question. Well, obviously, this is a movie mapping podcast. It's where we link movies.
And I'm
Um,
Shay, by the way.
and that's Shay, and I'm Jordan. And we took a couple weeks off of the linkage to do a couple of specials. We had a guest on, Michael McEwen, talking about Magnolia, which was a fun episode,
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Very
And then
fun.
last week we did, well, it'll be 2 weeks now by the time this is released. We did a spooky scary episode for Halloween,
It
which I
scared
thought was
everyone
also
so
a hoot.
much that it scared
They
everyone
took a
so
week off.
much that they're like, please give us like one
Please,
week to
please.
rest.
So after the post Halloween week of rest, which is necessary, I'm just going to draw attention to the fact of Shay, you're so well stocked with a kitchen towel or whatever that is.
Paper towel. Yeah.
Paper towel, that's what you call it over there.
It's kind of environmentally bad, but sometimes you need it, dude.
I fucking love paper towels. I think they are lifesavers. I just used
They
some to clear up the coffee I spilled because I don't want to get my cloth all stained, do I?
sometimes it's just the best man for the job. And I'll leave it
Mmm.
at that.
And sometimes the best man is unenvironmentally friendly.
Sometimes it is. And maybe it's not
Um,
the consumer's fault. And maybe we should start blaming the corporations, man.
yeah, let's stop blaming big towel, big paper towel,
Big PT.
big PT. Big PT coming at it again. I can't help that I like using PT. Everyone's out there drinking their Coca-Colas. I'm gonna keep using my paper towels.
It's not my fault that it is the best man for the job a
Mm.
lot of the time.
Hmm. But we're not here to discuss paper towels. We're here to discuss
You're not
movies
going to
because that's
talk
what we
about
do.
my cool pot.
I can't really see it in detail. I now see it looks like a pot. It looks kind of like a Winnie the Pooh honey pot or something. What is that?
It's just a little pot, but it's really cute and it's
What do you
yeah.
keep in it?
Well, I use it to cook, but I don't need it that often, so I kind of keep it on display there.
Oh, it's like a cooking pot.
Yeah. It's like a
Oh,
sauce pot.
a saucepan.
Saucepan, yeah.
Very nice. Um, anyway, anything
Anyways,
else in your kitchen you want to make note of before we move on?
no.
No, it all looks pretty standard otherwise. You don't have any magnets on your fridge or anything like that. Do you need a gift or something?
Magnets don't stick to the front, they stick to the side, which you can kind of see.
Yes, I
But and on the
see.
other side, I have some mag. Actually, I have a magnet that I bought for you to give to your wife, and I forgot to bring it to London. So one day I
Wow.
might give that to you.
That would be nice.
Yeah,
Um, so yes, as I said, this is
similar
the lunar
to
edition.
this mug, which I was
Oh
supposed to
yes.
give to you, but I have now.
Well, one day those will come into my hands. Um, it's the lunar edition, meaning we're talking as our new structure goes. We're going to talk about a new release and then our link in the chain. And our new release for this week is Killers of the Flower Moon,
Mm-hmm.
and our linkage is Rainer Werner Fassbinder's In a Year of 13 Moons.
Some people say of and or like some places it says of and some places it says with. Is maybe that is the same word in German or something? I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe.
I
Who
guess that
knows? I
doesn't
don't.
really make sense, but I don't know. Which do you think it
Um,
is?
I always used to call it In a Year with 13 Moons, but now I'm leaning towards of now that I've seen it for no real reason. I just
That
decided
really
to take a
changed
different
it.
side. Yeah, yeah,
I like with 13 moons, but then I just seem to have written in a year of in my notes. So
yeah. Mm.
I don't know.
Well,
I
Killers
guess
with
we'll
the
never
Flower
know.
Moon.
Killers with the flower moon. Yeah.
Oh man, as you know, Shay, I work in a cinema, and it is hell when a title is that long because the customers they don't want to say the whole thing. They pretend that they don't know what it's called, and they call it the killer movie, which isn't helpful when the killer is
Well,
out the
there's the
same week.
killer out. They really should have thought about that.
Yeah.
I've had that
Um,
confusion multiple times with people where I'm talking about someone saying the killers or killer, and I think they're talking about, the Scorsese, but
turns
really
out
they're
they're talking
talking
about
about
the Finch.
the Finch. So,
He should
anyways,
have called it the murderer instead of the killer. That's his fault.
that would be as lame as of a title because I
Yeah.
don't like
I
the
mean,
name.
it might as well be called the assassin as well. It's about an assassin. I guess he doesn't like that either.
I like that better.
Uh,
Because it's like that. Fuck. What's that movie with Alain Delon
Alain Delon, La
where he
Piscine,
looks? No,
Purple Noon,
no. Oh, The Samurai.
The
He should have called it
Samurai.
The Samurai.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
But we're
haven't
not here
seen
to
that,
talk
by
about
the
the
way,
killer because I would like to lay into that at some point. Maybe that'll be next week. Wait, when does that come out?
I feel
Yeah,
like
maybe
I'm
next
gonna
week.
like it because
I
I
don't
like
think you are.
Fincher. Anyways, okay, maybe I won't.
Mm. Anyway, Killers of the Flower Moon. This is Scorsese's newest picture, 2023, the year of our Lord. Um, and yeah, you saw it last night, and I saw it a little while ago now. So apologies if it's not so fresh in my mind. But
That's me with
initial,
In the Year with
and
13 Moons. I saw that
oh,
like a week ago, so I
oh,
don't
fair enough. Yeah, I
really
literally watched it
remember.
yesterday. So
Yeah,
so
same
you
week.
give me your initial hot take on
Okay,
Killers of the
here's my
Flower Moon.
initial hot take. The first thing I want to say
Mm.
is stop. Stop making movies this fucking long. I can't fucking take it anymore. Stop. Literally stop. If you're going to make a movie longer than 2 hours, you should have to write into me specifically and say why it should be longer, and
Mm.
you should be required to have an intermission.
Wow, you're so American.
No, I am not.
Uncultured swine.
Oh my God.
Um,
I'm gonna beat
so
your
that's your hot
ass.
take.
I don't know if it's a hot take, but it's
I
just my.
I do agree that this movie is too long, but I do like a long film, you know. Getting bang for your buck is quite nice, you know.
I just think it,
Um,
it can lead to like really bad storytelling where you're just like, let me just draw this out as long as possible.
oh, absolutely. It should only be done when it's necessary. I'm trying to think of like the best
That's
ones that are like that long. Like, did you
that's
ever
why
see
I'm
sorry, you
saying
go.
people should write into me and
Hmm.
request, and then I allow them, and I have to have like final edit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And
Um,
well, yeah, what do you like that's over 2 hours?
well, I was gonna say 4.5 hours, Love Exposure, the Sion Sono movie. Did you ever see that?
I have seen that.
And I got to see it in a cinema, and it was not over long, and I had the best time. And the guy at the beginning, 'cause it was like in a tiny little sort of like community cinema, he was like, "Does anyone want to do an intermission? Just raise your hand." And then no one put their hand up, but like one guy. So he was like, "We're not doing an intermission," and we didn't do an intermission, and it was fine.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder what
Um.
I would have voted. I probably would have voted. I would have been the lone guy
Yeah. You would have been like scoffing in your
voting.
seat when he said no. You'd be like, "Oh,
Oh,
oh."
what about me?
So that's all your opinion is that the movie is too long.
No, no, I said that was the first thing I want to say.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I agree. Second point.
Um, no, you say a point.
Um, I struggle with late Scorsese, you know. I think anything post his scene, even Goodfellas onwards, to be honest, like anything post 80s, um, I have a little bit of a difficult time with. I really don't like Goodfellas. Casino's okay. The Aviator's okay. I don't like The Departed. You know, there's just lots of like his late stuff that I just don't really care for. And his most recent things, yeah, obviously The Irishman. Again, overlong. There are bits of it that
Mm.
there's bits of all of these movies that I do really
The
admire
Irishman
and
is
really like.
longer than
Is it?
this. Yeah,
Um,
by like 5 minutes or something. But
but it's interesting because The Irishman had more in it towards the end that actually interested me. So I kind of like found myself like perked up. But by the end of the Killers of the Flower Moon, I was
Oh my
so done
God.
about an hour into it.
Same. Literally same. I remember after the first hour, I like look at my watch or whatever, and I was like,
That's what I did.
that's when I started being like, oh my God. Because I enjoyed the first hour. Like, but I tend to like the parts of movies where it's like people having fun and like a little
I think
romance.
the score is so bad. I keep because I work in the cinema, as I've mentioned many
Yeah.
times. I keep walking past the screen when it's like the introductory bit once they're in like the town and everything. There's this really crappy, like bouncy, like happy score that plays, and it's so bad. I hate it.
The score is, it reminds me of like a sitcom or something where it's like doo doo
Yeah,
doo, like it's like very
yeah,
on the
yeah,
nose and like not
yeah.
interesting or nuanced.
And I think
Um,
visually, this film is a little bit dull, to be honest. I don't think it really has anything going for it. There's a couple like memorable shots, I think, but other than that, it's like it looks so flat and uninteresting to me.
I didn't hate it, by the way. I liked it. I
Mm,
mean, I thought it was, there are a lot of things that I respected about it, I guess, and I
mm,
enjoyed like I really enjoyed the first hour. And I just, again, with these fucking 4 hour long movies, like I think it's way too unfocused and there's too many scenes that are redundant. And yeah, it's just a little all over the place for my tastes. And it's
yeah.
weird because a lot of people I like are like giving it 5 stars, and I'm like,
Yeah, a lot of people I like are really kind of like I often have this feeling with films like this where I feel like I've watched a different movie to the people who are responding this way because in theory all the things they're saying are things that I would like and pick up on and all of this stuff, but
yeah,
what I'm seeing is just like a film made by white people for white people. Um and I don't care about any. I don't like any of the performances particularly, and I especially don't like Leonardo DiCaprio's performance. It's very irritating to me. Like I was sick of looking at his stupid, sad face. Um,
I never like him.
no, me either. And Robert De Niro's character like should have been really interesting, but it's like he was just so. It felt like he was kind of phoning it in or something. I don't know. It just didn't feel very like lived in.
I thought
And
he was fine.
his character is
I
so like expository at the beginning as well. Like he's literally just like laying down the whole. I feel like the script isn't very good.
I don't know. I feel like I'm not very good at analyzing scripts, to be honest. I just thought it was
Mm.
like fine. I didn't really notice it. But okay. First of all, I thought Lily Gladstone was really good. Like
She
she's
is good. She
very,
is good. She's the
very
best part.
grounding and present
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
just has a very cool energy.
Hmm.
And then I love Jesse Plemons. I don't like whenever he showed up 3.5 hours in, I was like, oh, what a breath of fresh air. I love that guy. I don't know what it
uh,
is about him. I just love him.
I forgot that he was in it, and about like 2 hours in, I was like, "It's weird. This seems like the kind of movie that Jesse Plemons would be in." And then he turned up. I was like, "Oh, of
He
course,
always turns up when you need him most, you know?
yeah, absolutely." Yeah,
Do
I
you,
kind of feel a bit indifferent towards him. I don't know. I do like
mm,
him. I do like watching him. He's a fun actor to watch, I guess.
did you see Game Night?
Game Night. What's that?
It's just
Is
like a
that the?
dumb Jason Bateman
Oh yeah, I
comedy.
have seen that movie. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's so funny in that. And ever
Does he
since
play like a
then,
cop or something in that?
he's like their neighbor who's a cop and he has like a
Yeah.
fuzzy white dog. Um,
Hmm.
he's very funny in that. Um,
Yeah.
I just like
Um.
him. He's
Fair
all
enough.
skinny now. Everyone's saying he's on Ozempic.
Oh, of course he is. You come out with these things that literally like the only reason I know what Ozempic is because someone I know like maybe I shouldn't say this on the podcast. Someone I know did something with it. Like someone I know who knows someone I know did something and it almost killed someone.
Oh,
um,
wow. That's interesting.
I'll tell you off,
I
Mike.
I was okay. That's exciting.
Mm.
I was surprised that you did know what Ozempic was.
Yeah, it's literally just because of this thing. Otherwise, I would have no idea.
It's like
Um,
a huge cultural conversation, Jordan.
I don't like engaging in those, as you may know.
Yeah,
Um,
sure. I'm just telling you.
oh, thanks. Thanks for shay-splaining it to me.
Mm-hmm. Anytime, buddy. I also
Um,
don't like recent Scorsese, by the way. I just want to say that.
okay. So I think, yeah, I hate Wolf of Wall Street. And you know what? Weirdly, this film reminded me of Wolf of Wall Street in its
Yeah.
structure and everything,
No,
right?
it's
It's got
very
this,
similar. He's made the same movie
uh,
a lot of times.
yeah, it's true.
Because it's like
Um,
greedy little goblins, and then they get their
and then there's the FBI
punishment. Yeah.
investigation. Like when that scene happened, when he turned up at the door, I was like, this is literally the same scene as from Wolf of Wall Street. And I'm like, if you're
And
doing a film
Goodfellas.
this, yeah, if you're doing a film this different, try something different, man.
Another thing
um,
I thought was, a lot of the things that are beautiful in the movie that people are talking about, I think
mm,
are simply like Native American traditions and cultural aspects that are just like those are the beautiful things that are just kind of being shown. I don't think that that's
yeah,
actually like the beauty in the filmmaking. It's like I don't know. And it's
I don't
cool
think,
that he's
yeah.
showing those things. Like I think that their culture is fucking incredible, but I don't think that that is like a reason to say it's a beautiful movie, you know?
Yeah, and then obviously we come to obviously we don't want to go into detail, but we can talk about the ending. I mean, anyone who's listening has probably maybe watched it, or at least what the ending sort of represents. We don't have to say exactly what it is, but with
Yeah.
that sequence, which you obviously know with the little cameo. Did you see Jack White there as well? I thought that was funny.
Oh, I didn't. I was like, I know, I recognize that person. I didn't realize who it was. Oh, that's
I was like,
funny.
what the fuck?
That is so funny. Okay. Makes a lot of sense. Boy, is he pale.
So yeah, isn't he? So people are very much praising this scene, and I think
Well,
it
maybe
is
we
just the
should, I
most
think,
like
can we say that we're gonna like, maybe like if you haven't seen it, because I do kind of want to talk about this. So, like, let's say, like,
okay,
I don't know, 2 minutes to talk about this or something. I don't know.
okay.
Maybe that's too long. We're gonna spoil the ending for a little bit here.
Okay, you go ahead then. You've got a hot take.
No, I don't have a hot take. I do want to talk about it.
Yeah, so basically, obviously, this film, spoilers ahead, continues to its conclusion, and then it's kind of concluded with, typically maybe if you're making a bad version of like a biopic, you would put on the screen like in text what the fates of all of the characters were.
Yeah.
But it presents it as this sort of old style radio show being recorded before a live audience.
Hmm.
Um, and Scorsese then makes a little cameo himself, delivering some of the final moments, and
Very
people are kind of
sincere.
praising this as him sort of being like self-critical of the idea of like because obviously he's been very fascinated by using real life stories since
Yeah.
Raging Bull, I guess, and depicting violence and crime uh and true crime and all this stuff, and for sort of like a viewer's pleasure, I guess. And people are congratulating him for this sort of like self-critique and putting himself in this role to even sort of say these final lines, but it all just rings a bit like hollow for me. How about you?
I actually really liked it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I did. I thought that part was really fun.
I thought it was, sure, I thought it was fun, like,
But in terms of
but
like the self critique thing, I don't
yeah,
know.
I think it's kind of weak. I think just don't make the fucking movie, you know?
How is it a self critique? I don't really
Well,
understand.
because the history of his films is to do with like sort of like putting true crime on a sort of it's real people and it's their
Oh,
real lives and stuff, but creating a sort of fictional narrative around it and making it exciting. And you know, he even does it in
mm,
this movie where it becomes like an FBI investigation with his fun, slick editing and all this kind of stuff. It's him sort of being like questioning why we enjoy these things the way we do, and obviously using that radio show as a way to represent as it's like this story has been made and commodified to
yeah,
show to a
yeah,
white audience, right?
yeah.
Um,
That makes
and
sense.
this is him sort of critiquing himself in that sense. But I just think if you're going to critique yourself, maybe just. But the thing is, okay, with Scorsese, I think I wish he was just a film historian as opposed to a filmmaker, because I think he has done so much for world cinema,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he's been executive producer and producer in so many like incredible projects that I'm sure wouldn't have been able to happen without his like support. And
Yeah.
for me, it's like I don't understand why he's so passionate about making this movie. He should like get it into the hands of a quality Native American filmmaker to make this story. And that would be the way around this, instead of making your self-indulgent 3.5 hour movie and then putting your own self-critique at the end. It just feels all a bit blech to me.
Hmm.
Well, maybe that's just me.
I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, yeah, I would prefer it was a Native American person telling the story.
Because obviously he
But
went through the efforts of consulting. Like,
yeah,
obviously, it's like a very collaborative project, but ultimately it's a Scorsese picture, and he really puts himself in it, um, by changing the narrative structure, the focus on the characters, all these kind of things. He makes it his. And ultimately, I think, what's the fucking point of doing that?
no, it's interesting. I mean, I guess he just wanted to tell the story, but yeah, like
He
give it
has
to
the power
someone
to tell it
else.
through someone else. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah,
So
man.
that's all I have to say about that movie. I didn't really care for it. I was bored and it was overlong, and I hate the culture of people, obviously not the people that we're talking about whose opinions we respect and stuff, but like the kind of people I serve at the place I work, um,
Yeah, I mean,
who,
I don't like that. Yeah, like you were saying, like made for white people by white
mhm,
people to
mhm,
like feel better about yourselves because it's like, oh, look the bad things we did and we should be
mhm.
ashamed of that. It's kind of like,
I've seen some critiques leveled at it for its like lack of incisiveness into like, obviously it's like how the FBI started, and the FBI is pure evil, but it doesn't really explore the background of that. It kind of just puts them in a good guy position in the movie. Um,
yeah, and it's weird because it's like how the FBI stuff doesn't happen until 3 hours in. Like, how is this about the FBI if it doesn't start till 3 hours in? I don't know.
yeah,
Um, I did read one funny thing though. Robert De Niro was irked by Leonardo DiCaprio's frequent ad-libbing. And every now and then, Bob and I would look at each other and roll our eyes a bit, and we tell him, "You don't need that dialogue."
that's
I
funny.
love that.
I bet he's a pain in the ass to work with.
Yeah, he seems
Little prick.
awful. There was a picture of him recently with like one of his 19-year-old girlfriends, and he was getting his asshole fingered. Did you see
What?
that?
No, I didn't see that. Why is that open to the public, man?
Well, they were like in public, and she like had her hands down his pants, and it was like, you know, I know what's going
As
on
much as
there.
I don't like the guy, give him his butthole privacy. We all are
No,
entitled
well,
to.
he's doing it in public.
Oh, don't be that guy.
What,
He's
me
not
or
like
him?
he's not you. He's not doing it like on a stage.
I guess that's true. Yeah, it's more like a paparazzi issue. Um,
It's definitely a paparazzi issue.
all right. I like that you are defending that.
I gotta have a
Um,
stance somewhere, or else am I really me? You know?
very true. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I want to say. Um,
I can't really remember anything about it at this point. You took a nice long break. Do you know what you missed? Did you whisper in your friend's ear when you got back? Hey, what did I miss?
went by myself. So no. But I
Oh,
managed to
you
figure it
should have just
out.
whispered to a stranger.
Yeah.
Hey, what did I miss?
I took a really long break because it was long, man. And I was like,
Yeah.
I need to look at my phone and poop for a minute, you know? Um,
I was trapped at the end of an aisle that I couldn't, like I was on the wall side, so I couldn't get out. So I couldn't get out for the whole movie, even though I really wanted to.
oh, that sucks.
It was
That
a real
sucks
tough
big
watch
time.
for me. Yeah.
Oh, in summary, I thought it was okay, but too long. And I liked the very end, but I agree with what you said about, hey, maybe just don't make the movie then, Mr.
Yeah,
Scorsese.
Mr. Scorsese.
Something that I find annoying about Scorsese is like a lot of people I know just worship the guy blindly. And like I
Mm.
feel like they don't even know why they like him. They just are like, oh, this guy is a legend and I like his other movies. And they're just like, will eat up anything he does.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. I don't think enough is talked about in that sphere is to do with obviously he is a massive film historian and he knows his stuff and the stuff that
Yeah.
he makes is incredibly influenced by very specific things. And I think people need to pay more attention to those things, maybe, like the history of
Mm-hmm.
Italian cinema, like he wouldn't exist without Fellini, in the same way. And
Yeah.
he wouldn't exist with like some of the best like old Hollywood movies. Um,
Yeah.
like Manelli stuff and stuff like that. And it's I think he is obviously amazing at what he does certain times. But I think yeah, he holds like this weird amount of cultural currency in that sense where he's almost like untouchable for some
Yeah,
reason.
he's like untouchable, which yeah, and obviously I respect him a lot. And I'm not saying that people shouldn't. I'm just saying I don't like when people seem to blindly just give 5 stars to everything he makes. Like that irritates me.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
you know,
Because I think it was a similar response to The Irishman in large part. Everyone really fucking loved that too, didn't they?
I feel like less so, but yeah, people did like it,
Mm.
which confused me. I didn't even finish it.
Whoa, the ending's the best part.
All right, I guess
Genuinely, like the last 15 minutes are the only bit, not one of the only two bits where I was like, whoa, this is
I guess
actually interesting. Why didn't you make the movie all about this?
I guess that's how he gets away with the 4 hour runtime.
Yeah, I guess so. Cheeky bastard.
Cheeky bastard.
Remember him
And
being with Isabella Rossellini? That's pretty crazy.
they're together?
Yeah, they were together.
I didn't know.
Yeah,
And what do you think about that?
jealous.
Yeah, she's beautiful. Well, she was
She was
with
very
David
cool though.
Lynch too, right?
Yeah, she's got a pretty good roster there.
Hell yeah, queen.
Yeah,
Um, she's
get
in
it,
a movie
girl.
I want to see, La Chimera, that's coming out. Anyways, I'm excited about that.
What is that? Who's it by?
Alice Rohrwacher, I think.
Oh, La Chimera.
La
Oh, yeah,
Chimera.
I
Yeah.
assume
Yeah, you're
she's
probably
Italian,
right.
right?
Yeah,
Um,
I like her and I'm excited for that movie.
what
Think I
she did
like.
the Happy as Lazaro, right?
That was okay, but
I didn't like that one.
I really liked the short she did last year. It was like all these
That's on
little
movie, right?
schoolgirls. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I haven't
saw
watched that. I've only seen Happy as Lazaro so far.
that was just okay, but I really, really liked this short, and this new movie is supposed to be good.
Okay, cool. Well, I look forward to that.
I look forward to that
Maybe,
as well.
maybe we'll talk about it one day.
Oh my God, I'd love to do that with you.
Hmm. Um. So that's about that for the Scorsese, I think.
Do you think if my
Um.
sink keeps dripping, I should tell my landlord? It's kind of starting to
Yes.
annoy me. Okay.
Yeah, you should, and then it will waste your water. Your water bill will go up.
And as I'm falling
Uh.
asleep, I'm like, shut the fuck up to these little doop
Wow,
drops.
that must be infuriating.
Yeah, my
That could drive.
life's
That could
really
drive. That
hard.
could drive a girl crazy. That could send you to the insane asylum,
Loony bin.
the loony
Don't
bin.
don't be surprised if I'm in the loony bin next time you hear from me. Don't be
I've
surprised if I'm recording from the loony bin next week.
all crossed armed in your what do they call those things? Straight jackets.
Straight jacket, yeah. That'd be a good look for
Um,
me.
that probably would be a really good look for you. Keep your hands to yourself.
I'm a handsy guy.
Also, like you're constantly moving the mic closer and further away from your face
Oh
like
shit.
this. It
See,
would be
that's a
good. It would be
problem.
good for you to, yeah, probably.
Okay. Sorry.
Sometimes I like to tell Shay off on mic to sort of have like some sort of upper hand. I think it makes me feel like a big man. How does it
Why do
make you
I
feel? Does
feel
it make you
like
feel small?
I feel like you were saying that as though I wasn't here. I felt
Oh,
like
Shay,
I
you're
was
still
like,
here.
oh, I was eavesdropping on you talking to the audience. Um,
um, Rainer Werner Fassbinder.
mm,
Or is it Rainer? Rainer. Rainer.
I have no fucking idea.
You ever been to Germany?
Never.
Oh, you gotta go, buddy.
Yeah?
The stuff they do with potatoes over there. Woo.
Is it fucked up? I'm
It's
hungry.
just good. There's this. There was this in Berlin. There's this really good potato restaurant called Kartoffelkeller or something. I think it's like, but means potato seller maybe. It's like an
Mm-hmm.
underground restaurant, not underground in a cool way. I mean, it's just literally like down some stairs. Uh, and they do potatoes any way you can fucking imagine. Always, all of the
Sideways,
ways.
but upside down, fucking on its
I don't
back. I
even
don't
know
know.
what way anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. So yeah, that's my hot tip. If you're going to go on holiday to Berlin, go to that potato restaurant.
Have you just been to Berlin or have you been to other places in Germany?
I've Issa's mother lives in a small place outside of Munich, so I've been there and I spent a
Hmm.
day in Munich, but I didn't really see much of it.
Okay,
Um,
what give us your review of Germany overall? Oh, I guess you said
Overall,
the potato thing. So was that
the
it?
potato thing's good. No, I like it there. I went up to a skiing mountain. I didn't actually ski, but I walked around and stuff. That was fun. It's
Were the
cool that they've
Germans
got that.
nice?
The Germans are yeah, pretty nice. I try to avoid talking to them most of the time, just because I don't like uh interacting with people in shops and stuff. It's kind of scary.
Hmm. I'm trying to get
And
better at that.
Issa speaks German, so uh
Mm-hmm.
it's very helpful to have her sort of lead the way.
It's crazy how she speaks like every language out there.
I know, it's mad. What a talented lady. She hates it when I call her a lady. I'm gonna retract that comment. What a talented woman. I looked over my shoulder just to see if she was there.
She's there like about to beat your ass.
Slip her in the air.
Oh, I
Um
like that.
so yeah, in a
Um,
year with 13 moons. This is Fassbinder's 1978 flick.
do you want to talk
Uh
about what you've learned in reading so much about him?
well, Fassbinder is a big thing for me, I think. I started watching his films when I was getting into films. Obviously, Fear Eats the Soul being the like accessible one, I think, that people kind of get in through.
Hmm.
And I've touched lots of areas of his filmography. Who am I? Who
Hmm.
talks like that? I've touched lots of
Ooh.
areas of his filmography, but I've still got a few little like blind spots here and there. Like the very earliest ones, I haven't seen the first few, and there's that sort of well, I mean, until recently, end of the 70s into the 80s, other than Carell, I hadn't really seen any, but I
He's
saw
made
the
a
third
lot of
generation
movies.
in this. The thing is, he made a lot of movies in his lifetime. He was making films for, I think it was like 15 years or something, and he made 45 movies or something like that. As well as obviously directed them, wrote them, produced them. Some ones like this towards the end, he was cinematographer of them. He edited lots of them.
Hmm.
He lived fast and died young, truly. Like um
How
an
did he
impressive
die?
life. I think it was heart attack, maybe. He
Hmm.
died in his room writing a script, though.
Died the way he
Cigarette
lived.
cigarette in hand. Yeah, exactly. So um he really was he, obviously as well he's not a the most what's the word I'm looking for? Good
I don't
natured
know.
man to have ever lived. He was definitely a controversial figure and he did lots of not nice things and he was very drug fueled and
Hmm.
aggressive to his peers and he's occasionally a nasty guy, it seems, but he was also an incredible artist and one of the most unique and influential artists, I think, in cinema. And I can brush that all aside for a good movie. How about you?
Oh yeah, definitely. Also, his
No,
movies
yeah.
are so compassionate. It's interesting.
Mm. It is bizarre to think um, that he could make movies that are that tender and then be that much of a bully. um,
Maybe he
but
was like,
he
I need to be a bully in order to make these compassionate movies.
maybe, but he was a queer icon
Mm-hmm.
um
Gay
at a
legend.
time when it wasn't the cool to be that. um
Yeah.
and his movies are fucking light years ahead in lots of aspects with that.
Yes.
Obviously maybe we'll get into a little bit of the trans issue with this movie and everything. um
Trans issue? You
yes.
think it's an issue?
um the way he handles it potentially.
Yeah,
um
sure.
trying to get me cancelled on mic or something.
Yeah. I need to
um
get you canceled at some point.
you just want it to be Shay goes boating by herself
One day.
one
I
day.
would be a better host,
Yeah, probably.
even though I am the
Um,
host. I don't know. I'm a co-host.
um, you're a co-host with the co-most. Um,
Yep. Hungry.
so
Ever since you talked about potatoes, I'm so hungry.
you can go grab a snack while I sort of monologue if you want.
No, it's okay.
Okay, you'll hold out, huh?
Mm-hmm. I'll pull
Um,
through.
absolutely. And obviously people have talked more about the queerness in his work as time has gone on. And some of his work, yeah, like I said, it just seems to be like very much ahead of the curve.
It
And
is
um
crazy. Like his movies just like show gay people and in this case like trans people as though it's like so normal. Whereas
mhm.
like that wasn't a thing in films until like very recently, you
Yeah,
know?
absolutely, absolutely. And it yeah, people still struggle to make movies like that without it being sort of signposted as like this is a gay
Like a
movie.
yeah,
But
like
like
yeah. What was that
he
movie? There was
managed.
like that movie or show. I don't know if it was a show or movie, Love Simon, where it's just like
Oh
about like a
yeah,
gay teen, and it's just like
I think it was a movie that they men made. It was a book, and then they made a movie, and then I think they made a show.
they really loved that.
They're draining
Um,
that thing.
draining that Love Simon fella. Um, yeah, and then these movies, it's yeah, it's just like as treated as normal as like being straight. Like it's not really,
Oh, absolutely,
which is so
and
cool. And that's like the kind of
absolutely.
representation that would be ideal rather than like this like I don't know, like
So,
fetishized or
yeah,
yeah.
representation that just is because it is,
Yeah.
as opposed to something that's like formulated
Or
and
like I feel like it would like nowadays it's like a gay character like has to die because it's like a tragic existence or something. You know what I
hmm
mean?
hmm yeah,
What
absolutely.
yeah.
And obviously spoilers
Anyways.
for In a Year of 13 Moons that does happen to our main character here. But
But it's not about
not
that.
always, and it's not about that. So In a Year of 13 Moons is quite late in his career. Obviously, 78 is coming towards the end of his career and life. Got 4 years left in him. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and he's he's worked through things with issues of identity and stuff like that in smaller roles, but obviously this is probably his most personal, in a strange way, and brutal film in that sense. I think
It's very bleak.
it's very fucking bleak. I didn't expect that because obviously over the years of being on the internet and Tumblr and film websites and stuff, I've seen stills from this movie, and it for me, I think it's his best looking film. I think
Mm.
though his work on this is some I was actually kind of gobsmacked by those opening images and
Mm.
the scene where that suicide song plays, like the way it's all lit, it's just I and staging wise, obviously Fassbinder is probably the best person to
Yeah.
ever uh
Yeah.
stage for film. Like everything is so perfectly um and precisely put together without it being like overly done, like a Bertolucci thing or something. You know, he's just got a sense of the way bodies are in a room and how
Mm,
it means things. And the fact that he could
mm,
do that, what always baffles me the most is the fact that he could do this with such grace and intelligence in his writing and everything, that you would expect someone to maybe do that after 10 years of like prepping and figuring out how to make like one movie, but he would make like 5 of these fucking things a year that are all just as equally complex in the way they're set up and shot and written and everything. Like I don't understand. There's not enough hours in the day. I literally don't know how he did it.
I guess by being a bit of a beehole at times
Being a bit of a
and being on
B in
drugs.
apartment 23. And
Mm-hmm.
he in talking of apartment 23, he did live in like he set up a sort of commune of him and his friends, who were obviously all of these
Mm,
people who star in a lot of his films. So
that
they
would
all
have
kind of
helped.
made films together, you know, and he had his little troupe or whatever. And for funding wise, they would use the funding that they would end up getting from the previous movie to fund the next movie, and sort of they were like sort of like, you know, paying themselves off each time until
That's
he started to
incredible.
obviously get his slightly wider recognition and then these bigger budgets towards the end. Um, but yeah, so in Year of 13 Moons, I mean, do you want to give a general summary for the audience?
Well, it was made in response to the suicide of his lover at the time, Armin Meyer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't want to give the summary. Whoa,
I'm trying on Issa's glasses. They're right next to me. It really hurts my
those
eyes.
look so silly on you.
Um,
Do you wear
well, that's just
glasses? No, you don't.
not. Technically, I should on occasion, but I don't really tend to. But
Same.
that's okay. Um, but yeah, so you don't want to give a summary, just not up to it.
I'm not up to it.
So it follows Elvira, is that her name?
Mm-hmm.
And she is left by her lover, this guy, and then she sort of goes on this journey of she just meets and talks with lots of people essentially. And
Yeah, I think
basically she's
she's
trans and she's post-op,
kind of, yeah, going through her past.
and she's going through her past trying to uncover things and figure things out because and I think this is kind of where the main issue potentially lies with the sort of trans identity being the thing. Obviously, Fassbinder is a cis gay man and or bisexual man or whatever, but he you know, he didn't have a trans experience. Obviously, he was very involved in gay culture and everything, so he probably, you know, used the basis of things that he knew and people he knew for inspiration on these things. But
Yeah.
ultimately, as it seems to be a sort of a conduit maybe for him and maybe for this person, his lover who died. Like, there's obviously so much going on in beneath the surface of this film that I think is just kind of unknowable as um you know, a casual viewer. I don't know anything about the particulars of what he's translating, but I think, well, essentially, I think Elvira's character is kind of going through issues of struggling with her identity still, kind of being like,
Mm-hmm.
do I even want to be a woman? Like, did I make this choice because of these aspects of my life and all these things?
Yeah.
Um, which I think is where some people kind of find particularly that slaughterhouse scene kind of uh, it's a strange parallel or sort of like potentially upsetting parallel to draw between sort of the slaughtering of bodies and the you know, body modification of, you know, changing your genitalia, etc.,
Yeah.
etc.
I thought
But I think it,
that that scene was just
yeah,
more about like general like dehumanizing of our
yeah,
bodies.
yeah. I did have that read as well, and I mean, in terms of obviously the trans conversation surrounding this film, I've seen arguments come from both sides of things, and obviously, I think, you know, it's up to those people to decide what they feel towards it,
Yeah.
and
Obviously, I don't want to
res-
discredit that, but I don't
yeah,
feel like he was saying that. Like
no,
I think like what we were saying before of like he treats gay people just as people or whatever. He treats
mm,
this trans
mm,
person as a person who
mm.
struggled with feeling dehumanized,
Hmm.
not necessarily like because of their transness. I don't know.
Mm. No, absolutely, absolutely. That's exactly where I agree. And I think maybe the main issue, and I think someone who was trans who posted a thing about this, or like I read an article or something, they were saying that is Elvira even like, you know, a true trans? Does she even really
Mm,
truly have a trans identity? Is it kind of not maybe about someone who like who is confident in that side of themselves, and it is about the sort of nuances and the difficulties in finding yourself and your gender identity and stuff like that. It's
yeah.
not saying this is the trans experience. It's saying this is someone who doesn't actually know what they want in life, you know?
Yes. Big agree. But obviously
Um,
we're like cis and don't know and we're dumb. But
yeah, absolutely. But we know what we know and we know what we can interpret. And
mhm.
um yeah, I didn't really find it in fact I found it kind of the opposite of offensive for the most part. I mean, you know, you see trans characters in movies these days that are just sort of like, you know, I think they just try and shoehorn them in for the thumbs up from the liberal
Yeah,
community, I guess.
100%. Like I feel like this representation is so much more interesting and real.
And I mean, Volker Spengler's performance is it's so real and so touching. And I think this film as a
So
whole,
good.
if I can kind of deep it a little bit, is like I was saying about how Fassbender's sort of light years ahead in terms of gay representation. He sort of seems to embody something that people are in the way he makes his art. In He seems to have already distilled a very clear experience of being othered and being um different and expressing that through art. And it is really, this film specifically in his oeuvre as well, like feels extremely evocative. And uh I see it in the future of trans literature and trans writing and stuff that I've read, that I've been like, oh wow, the skeleton of that, or like, you know, the DNA of it or whatever exists within these Fassbinder movies. And like, obviously
Mm,
I'm not saying he is a trans voice, but in
yeah.
terms of just like LGBTQ plus whatever art, he is just like such a forerunner of uh basically, sorry, I'm just going off on like one and I keep cutting back on myself and everything,
You're
but
fine.
basically he has such a clear way of expressing the trauma and the difficulty in being a non-conforming person, and
Yeah.
expressing that through art without the art sort of signposting it and
Yeah.
making it literal. You know, he is so good at
Yeah.
creating a narrative in a world that is just like so uh, consuming, and it's expressed through not just the language, it's expressed through the visuals and everything. And it's just, that's the thing, this film I found actually very difficult to watch. um
Me
and
too.
I love, you know, as much as I love Fassbender, I found it a fucking tricky watch. But I think it's so dense and there's so much in it that I think you could probably watch it once a day for like a fucking year and there would still be stuff to uncover. And this is one of his 4 movies from this year.
So crazy, dude. Um, I feel like what you were saying was partially like he was portraying like the otherness of being gay or trans or whatever, but also
Mm,
like without, but also like making it feel human and relatable to any person, which is like such a feat, you know?
absolutely. Well, because so much of like modern queer art that I sort of consumed in my lifetime that has been around people sort of like, if my generation, if you will,
Yeah.
the cadence in which they express themselves, the idea of sort of like a tenderness and a lovingness that exists within, you know, these communities and within these people's inner selves, you know, including myself, like I am a queer individual, like it's
Hmm.
it's really it feels like I'm watching a movie that was made today by the best artist alive today, you know? Like
Mm-hmm.
it feels so wildly ahead of its time in that sense that,
Yes,
like I
I
said,
so
I was
agree.
thinking of there's this book called fuck, what's it called? I've got it on my bookshelf. This is a thing a body moves through or something like that. And it's by this trans writer, and it's about, it's about so much stuff. It's sort of like it's like a flowing essay of sorts. And
Mm,
well, I was really reminded of that book when I was watching this movie. And
mm.
yeah, just everything I've been saying about sort of contemporary like queer art is just like it's already existed and it was here and it was so well done. And I don't think we could ever even make a movie like this again. We're too far gone.
It's interesting, yeah, because it's such an amazing piece of art.
Mm,
And it's, I guess, like one cool thing about the structure is that the movie is like all these different like monologues from different people,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and they're so, some of them are really sad and some of them are kind of funny, and they're just like, they all just like flow together in this very poetic way, and it's
All the
just it.
all the range of human emotion is in this film, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, it's like it's as like nihilistic as it is compassionate, and it's like
And it's
funny, and it,
and angry, you know. It's crazy.
yeah.
It's really wild. You know, it's so fun. Gottfried John is,
Hmm.
I think, one of the best. I love him as before. I think he's so fucking good,
He's so
and
bizarre. He has the craziest face I've ever
I
seen.
love his face. I love his face so much.
He plays
Um,
Anton Seitz.
AI, yeah, AI
Yeah,
sites.
AI. um,
um,
yeah, he's got the coolest face ever. And his
and
little
his
like tennis
sequences,
outfit or whatever he's
yeah,
wearing.
and his sequence is obviously really funny. But then there's this like really sort of harrowing kind of like history behind it and
The like Jerry
evocation of,
Lewis
yeah,
routine. Yeah.
With the Jerry Lewis routine is this weird like evocation of like the history of Nazism, and like he's a concentration
Yeah.
camp survivor and all this stuff. It's like this, like I said, it's so dense. I don't think you could really run out of things to talk about with this movie. I think it is the kind of film that film studies was made for, you know?
Yeah, I saw people talking about how it's like a critique of capitalism and like how dehumanizing and alienating it is for people. Which I don't really
Mm.
know. I don't really know how to speak on that, but yeah, just
Well,
there's
there's
a lot
just so
covered in
much.
this movie.
And obviously, our link to this movie was Ingrid Carven, and she plays Zora in it, and she is fantastic as well. I could watch
She's
her
really good.
forever.
I love her like
There's this
outfits.
really strange long sequence where she's just sort of sitting in his bedroom watching TV.
Yeah, and then Fassbender's on the TV, right?
Yeah, sorry, yes,
Yeah.
Fassbinder's on the TV, like an interview, which again just like points to like the very personal nature of this stuff. I can't remember what he's saying, but there's so much going on that like
Yeah.
it's hard to fucking read the subtitles and look at this movie and take it all in with one go. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I kind of jokingly said in my review that like it's the best Fassbinder I wouldn't recommend, but I
Yes.
kind of
I
after talking
agree.
about it, I kind of want to watch it again immediately. So maybe I don't even like fully agree with myself.
Yeah. But it would be a weird one to recommend to
It
someone,
would be
especially
it would be a bad one to start with, I think.
especially because of the slaughterhouse scene.
That was extremely difficult to watch, and like I'm not a particularly squeamish person, and like,
That is
but I
like
just
hands down the worst. Like I've seen, like there are documentaries where they show that kind of stuff, but like that one in particular, horrible.
absolutely. I think
Like
it's because it
really
is
bad.
weirdly nicely shot, and the colors pop so well. It's like the
It's
one
too
scene you don't want
beautiful.
to be too beautifully shot. Like,
Yeah.
get it away from me.
There's a lot of
Um,
shots that are like frames like layered going like back. Do you know what I'm talking
oh
about?
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a really incredible one with all the doors and the empty offices. Like,
Yes, which I had seen that shot before.
mm,
Um, anyways, what do you make of those? Like, what do you think they mean?
um, well, I mean, I feel like they're very recurring in his work, so
Yeah,
uh,
maybe he just
it's
likes
almost
that.
just like a visual motif. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
sure whether it means anything in particular, but Like I said, he's just like so conscious of his framing that I think
Yeah.
you could read anything you want into that, really, and probably be right.
It's crazy how visually, like on top of just, he's just talented in every aspect, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think he probably was one of the best artists to ever make films, you know. I think he understood it as a medium, and he was influenced by Hollywood melodramas and as well as like
Yeah.
old German cinema, and just like he made it his own, and he really did something with all of those things and created this new language, completely unique cinematic language. I don't think anyone before him had something like that, and I don't think anyone since has ever really come close. The only person in modern day who I think is as good at, or not as good, but has created their own really interesting blocking is Lucretia Martel.
Mm-hmm.
She has a way of blocking scenes that is just baffling to me. It's like
Hmm.
it's so incredible. There's like it's people are like crossing over people, and like that everyone is just like laid out like they're in like this incredible painting, but it's everything's so close and uncomfortable as well. Like
Mm.
I just shout out to Lucretia Martel, I think.
Shout out.
um but yeah.
I get annoyed when people, um, never mind.
Oh no, you have to now.
No, just when people like there's I is this shot in Persona? No, it's not in Persona. No, yeah, it is. And there's a shot in Persona where it's like one face and then there's the other
Mm.
face. And it's been recreated so much that I start to get very annoyed when that happens.
Yeah, it's a bit cringe, isn't it?
It's just like think of your own shot. I don't know.
Yeah,
Also, like
absolutely.
the opening shot, this is like why I like the opening shot of Barbie, like which is like the 2001. It's like, oh my God, this has been done so many times.
Like that is like way to make it feel like a fucking SNL skit, like from the fucking get go.
Literally. Yeah.
Stupid ass movie.
Anyways,
Anyways, any
great
final thoughts on the
movie.
Year of 13 Moons? Great movie, yeah.
Very good.
Very good, very intense. Like I think I can't really choose it as my book of the week because I think I chose it a different week, didn't I? The Fassbinder one that I read. But I
Yeah,
would
but just yeah,
highly
I think
recommend that
worth mentioning
Ian
that.
Penman
Yeah.
book. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, it's it's a really, you know, it's spiritually akin to his work. Like it tries to sort of emulate his style. Like he wrote it under a deadline of like 3 months or something and hardly edited it, and it's just this really personal odyssey, you know, and it's really interesting and enlightening, I think.
What did you say it's called?
uh Thousand Mirrors or something. Fassbinder Thousand Mirrors. I Google thousands of
Okay.
mirrors.
Thousands of Years.
Fassbinder
Okay.
Thousands of Mirrors. Ian Penman.
Read it.
Highly recommend. Read it. um so yeah, I mean, where do we go from here, Shay? We get to the point of the podcast
Mm,
where we pick a different movie.
it's true.
And this is the bit where we go like awkwardly silent for a while we do it, and we're like, for a good like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
But people love that part, don't they?
that's a lot of people say that's their favorite part.
Um, it's funny because Gottfried John is in some like American movies, so maybe we could end up back in America or something, you know.
I'm so down.
Um,
Oh
I
yeah, I
don't
did
really
see
want to
that
watch
he was.
GoldenEye.
Yeah, that's the one I had read about him being in. Um, Godfrey John. I would love to see him in something else though, because he's so
Yeah,
fun.
me too. Fedora. Do you ever see Fedora, the Billy Wilder movie?
No, is it good?
I've never seen it.
That could be good.
Uh, that could be an interesting one.
Let me look
I've
on
always been sort of like looking
Letterboxd.
for an excuse to watch it.
I like Billy
Um,
Wilder.
yeah, I'd like Billy Wilder too. The thing is, when you go into a Fassbinder, they're all in Fassbinder movies, so it's kind of hard to come out of it
I
sometimes.
know. Yeah, that was my one concern.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it might even be like we have to
Which wouldn't be
go
the
through
end of
that.
the world.
Oh, actually, that's not true. Even Mattes is a really good. Shout.
Okay.
You know, she's in Van Herzog movies like Stroszek and Wojciech and stuff.
Oh, I've actually never seen Stroszek, and I feel like you love it.
It was one of the most important movies to me when I was getting into movies, and I only saw it that one time. But I
I'm
mean, it's a
dying to
good.
see it.
Fuck it, should we do it? And then we do an Werner Herzog.
Yes.
Wow, oh, what a dream! I've always wanted to rewatch this. I just never got around to it.
I've always wanted to watch it, period.
It's been like my whole identity, like my Tumblr URL was it, like it was my email and
Yeah,
stuff, my YouTube name, all that kind of shit. So
I know. I feel
um
bad that I've never seen it.
well that's great. And I think it's a great link to go to because it opens up so many links because obviously Werner Herzog is a he's made lots of movies for lots of different people.
Yes.
So yes, Stroszek it will be next week. Stroszek, I can't even remember how to pronounce it. Been that long.
Do you have a recommendation?
Oh, I've got like a book recommendation. That's my thing for the week. What's your film recommendation while I find a book?
I haven't really watched very many movies this week. I really just saw Anatomy of a Fall, Priscilla, and Killers of the Flower Moon. I guess I would say watch Anatomy of a Fall because we're gonna talk about it next week, and I liked it.
Okay, good shout, good shout. Um, so
Sandra Hüller.
Sandra Hüller.
Sandra Hüller. I can't believe we didn't do a German accent this whole time.
I know. Wow, ich liebe dich,
fuck?
Sandra Hüller. I do really like Sandra Hüller actually.
She's good, yeah. There's a sexy lawyer in it.
Spoilers.
He looks like River Phoenix.
That is probably so untrue. It hurts. I just know that's
it
not
is
true. So in
you.
keeping with depressing as fuck stuff, I'm going to recommend this book today, Hunger by Knut Hamsun.
Nut.
Have you heard of it? Nut. That's
certified
funny,
nut.
Certified Nut Hamsun.
Yeah, I have heard of that.
Yeah, it's a book it's a Hungarian book from the 20s, 1920. It won the Nobel Prize for Literature. It's pretty cool, huh? And it's about this like homeless guy who's roaming the streets of Christiania, and he's just making irrational decisions and doing stupid things, and it's just very heavy and depressing, but like a very good read. It's really kind of difficult to be in the company of someone that self what's the word I'm looking for, when you don't help yourself.
I
Come on,
know.
Shay. My little dictionary. You just went like dead-eyed, like a fucking child for a second there.
Yeah, there was nothing behind
like when you're at school and someone calls on they call on the kid in the class who just doesn't know anything, and they just
didn't do the reading.
Anyway, yeah, that's my recommendation is Hunger.
My recommendation is following me on Instagram at Little Side Table.
Jesus Christ, Shay. Yeah, follow Shay on Instagram.
Follow me on Instagram.
And do you want to go boating maybe as well?
No, I don't follow that. Just kidding. I recommend doing psychedelics. I recommend
children listen to this podcast.
Yeah, probably. They should do a lot of psychedelics.
Tut tut tut.
I promote that. And I also recommend sleeping too much. Yeah.
Wow. Wait, is Anatomy of a Fall a German movie?
It's French.
Oh.
Justine Triet.
Oh, I've heard of her.
She did Sybil.
Sybil, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that?
I haven't. I'm interested in seeing it now. I don't want to say too much, but I thought it was quite good. Anatomy of a Fall.
Okay, save it for
There's a kid actor in it. He's very good.
You're literally just eating into next week's episode, right?
And there's a sexy lawyer. Okay.
No, stop. Okay, goodbye. Listen along. What's it again?
Join us on our journey, listen along, and build the chain with us.
Join us on our journey, listen along, and build the chain with us. I've been Shay, and she's been Jordan.
I'm Jordan.
Bye.